Hello there and welcome to Lower 6 Maths A-Level Practice Paper A. This is question 7. The line with the equation mx minus 2 minus y equals 0 touches the circle with this equation. Find the two possible points of M, giving your answer in exact form. Okay, before I get started on this diagram, question here, I'm going to want to draw a diagram, but first I'm going to want to just rearrange some of these equations to make them look more like lines and circles. So I've added y onto the other side of the first one to make y equals mx minus 2, gradient m, y-intercept minus 2. That makes a lot more sense. And what I'm going to want to do with the circle is complete the sum of these two x variables and y variables. So the way I do that is I set up a squared bracket with an x, and then I halve the 6 to make a 3. And then I need to take away 3 squared, which is 9. The next bit I need is a y plus bracket. Note it's going to be a negative, so it's going to be y take away half of 8 is 4 squared, and I still need to take away 16. Even though it's a minus inside that bracket there, it still needs to be take away 16. And that's going to equal 4. So just taking those numbers over to the other side, I'm going to get x plus 3 squared, add y minus 4 squared, and this is going to equal 29 on the other side here. So we have a circle with centre minus 3, 4, radius of 29, so just drawing that graph out, minus 3, 4, so that's up here, radius of 29, so that's going to be a circle that roughly looks like this. And for the other graph, it's going to be a straight line with a y-axis intersection of minus 2. And we're going to have two values where it just touches the circle, one here, and let's try and draw the other one in there. Okay, so what we want to do is to effectively find out what these gradients are here of these lines that just about touch the graph, touch the circle. Right, okay, so what I need to do that is when we have lines touching circles, and we get a quadratic, the quadratic needs to have b squared minus 4ac equal 0. So this is what I'm going to target here, but first I need to make a quadratic in terms of x or y. And the way I can do that is I can substitute in for any values of y, the value mx minus 2. So in this equation here, I'm going to be substituting in y equals mx minus 2. So y is here, so I'm going to substitute in mx minus 2, and it would take away another 4, so you'll get a minus 6 there, equals 29. So expand the brackets now, and we need to get a quadratic so that we can pick out the b, a, and the c. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus m squared x squared. Let's do that one a bit more carefully. Mx minus 6 squared, so times by itself. So for this here, I'm going to get mx times mx, which is m squared x squared, minus 6mx minus another 6mx, that's minus 12mx, and then the 6 times the minus 6 times the minus 6, and we'll make a plus 36. So minus 12 plus 36 equals 29. So taking everything onto the left hand side now and grouping the x squareds together first. So I'm going to get 1 plus m squared x squared. So you see here I've factorised out the x squared from both of these two terms here to get you 1 for the x squared here and the m squared for the m squared x squared there. The next part is going to be plus, and I'm going to be looking at the x components now. So that's going to be plus bracket 6 minus 12m. Lots of x. I've factorised out the x there, and I've got the other terms inside the bracket. And then I'll group everything together. 9 plus the 36, take away the 29, and I get plus 16 equals 0. Right, so now that it looks like this value here is going to be a, this value here is going to be b, and this value here is going to be c. Okay, so b squared minus 4ac equals 0, so 6 minus 12m squared minus 4 lots of A times C, so I'll put the 16 first, and then 1 plus m squared equals 0. So expanding the brackets now, I'm going to get 36 minus 6 lots of 12 is 72, double it, you get 144m plus 144m squared. Take away 4 times 16 is 64, so it'd be take away 64 and take away 64m squared equals 0. Grouping all of these bits together and you get 80m squared minus 144m minus 36 take away 64 is 28 equals 0. So I'll move on to the next page but divide through by 4. So I'm going to get 20m squared minus 36m minus 7 equals 0. And this doesn't look very nice to me, so I think I'll probably use the quadratic formula on this. So minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So nearly done here. X equals minus 36, so 36 plus or minus the square root of minus 36 squared minus 4 times 20 times minus 7 all over 2, and we finally end up with, well, we're working with m's here, aren't we, rather than x's, so we get m equals 9 over, so over 2 times 20 rather, so 9 over 10 plus or minus the square root of 29 over 5, once we've plugged that all into our calculator. Okay, great, 7 marks for that question.